the road diets, they're narrowing the street. We're not. We're keeping the curbs where they are. We're using paint. So if we have to convert it back, if things aren't working,
what's the process to converting it back if we decided it wasn't successful?
The best scenario would be wait to the next pavement cycle where they're doing overlay and we can change it. And if not, we'd have to obliterate existing striping where it didn't match and redo it.
Would we have to pay the money back to the federal government if we decided it was unsuccessful?
Hi, Nathan Domi, Senior Transportation Planning Manager. We've been talking to ADOT, who we coordinate with on our federal funding, and there would be a time limit. So about the time of the next pavement cycle, we would not have to pay that money back.
And can you remind us the paving cycle, 5 years, or what is that cycle?
It'd be about 10 years.
Okay, so we've got it for 10 years, right?
Sorry, what was that?
So we've got the road diet for 10 years if it's not successful.
Well, we need about 10 years to evaluate if it was successful.
Okay.
We have to get the data and determine how it was going.
Would you say that people talk about, we get a lot of feedback about strings attached to this grant. Would you say there's strings attached?
I would not.
Okay.
We apply for federal funding. We send in the application for what we would like to see. So if anything, we were establishing our own strings.
Okay, so on the record, you would say there's no strings attached.
I would say that there are criteria for grant applications that we try to adhere to, but we look for grants that we would like to apply for that would benefit our community, and we fill out the application for that. So the criteria, I guess you could say, have strings, but
this project has about 7 main items. So you've got adding bike lanes, removing car lanes, you're applying the slurry coat. We're going to replace 5 ADA ramps. That's great. Adding 7 sidewalk offsets. We're replacing an SRP pipe, 2 crosswalk signs, and new poles and traffic signals. So it's about 7 main features of this project, of this federal grant's paying for. Would you agree with that?
I would agree that we're doing all those things during this project.
So could we do 6 of those and not 7 and keep the money?
It depends on what you're trying to take out of it. The bike lanes are essential for the grant application. You said it was congestion mitigation. It's also a big component of that grant is adding bike facilities.
So you think there's mitigation there too, or there's congestion to mitigate?
I'm saying that that grant has a big bucket attached to it. Some of it's grant mitigation, some of it's air quality, some of it is bike infrastructure.
Okay.
We were specifically looking for the bike infrastructure.
Okay, so if we applied the slurry scope, replace ADA ramps, sidewalk offsets, SRP, if we did 6 of those, but we set aside the bike lanes, or we made them smaller, could we do that and then keep the 4 car lanes?
I would say that we would have to, first, this would be back in the design phase, and we're past that now. But during the design phase, we could have gone back to MAG and ADOT and requested that change. And I would say that it would be highly unlikely that they would agree to that change.
So it seems like
grant application.
So it sounds like what you're saying is it seems like the bike lanes are conditioned on the money. Is that correct?
I would say that the bike lanes were part of our application that was reviewed, and we were rated, compared to the other communities. If we took that out of our project after we were awarded that funding, I think ADOT and MAG would find that disingenuous for us getting that funding.
I'm not familiar with strings associated with this project, so, am I missing something?
Mayor, Councilwoman Caputi, no, you're not missing anything. There are no strings.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's the end of my questions.
There are strings attached to this, like Councilmember Durham said. If there weren't strings attached to it, we could spend it any way we wanted. That's just what that means. But we can't. We have to spend it the way the conditions require. Those are strings.